And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Yoga for Sleep. Today, let's start in a seated position, right? Just so we can take a moment to stretch out the neck, stretch into shoulders. And so just finding a comfortable seat, right? If you've got a blanket or a pillow that you'd like to sit up onto, you can set that up. And then settling into your shape, begin to connect with your breath. And taking a moment here, noticing how you're breathing, noticing the quality of your breath. Maybe doing a bit of a body scan and just start to notice all the different sensations that are happening in the body right now. Maybe with each inhale, just invite the body to soften, and just settling into stillness and just letting go of effort. And then just start to sit up tall, right? Lengthen the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. And start to reach the arms out wide. And flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe notice if the low ribs start to lift up as well. And just hug the ribs down. Right? And hold here. Right? Relax the shoulders. And take the fingers together. Palms are still flipped up. And then start to turn the fingertips down towards the mat. Right? So just extending into the wrists. Maybe start to notice a sensation of stretch across the inner lines of the arms. Notice if shoulders want to shrug up towards the ears, and just take the shoulders down and keep extending through the wrists. And just holding here for a couple more breaths. And then start to flip the palms back up. Start to curl the fingers in and wrap the thumbs around the fingers, making a fist. And then start to turn the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Right? Maybe start to notice the sensation of stretch across the outer lines of the arms. And then just hold here for a few more breaths. And then release the hands, lowering arms out to the sides. And maybe just start to do a couple of shoulder rolls. And then let's make our way onto hands and knees, right? Coming into tabletop. And we'll stretch into the shoulders. So taking hands about shoulder distance apart or maybe a little wider. Shoulders can be stacked above wrists or slightly behind. You can take tops of the feet on the mat, or you can tuck the toes under if you'd like a little bit of a toe stretch. And then just start to sit the hips back any amount. And just sort of taking a modified child's pose. And then slowly shifting forward. And start to take the shoulders past the wrists, right? Just stretching into the wrists. And then once again, start to sit the hips back. Shifting forward once again, right? Leaning forward, stretching into the wrists, stretching into the forearms. And let's sit back once again. And then last time, lean forward, right? Start to hold your stretch. And then coming back to neutral. Let's lower forearms down onto the mat. Palms are face down. Again, toes can be tucked under or tops of the feet on the mat. Start to sit the hips back once again. Maybe start to notice a sensation of stretch through the upper arms, through the shoulders, and then shifting forward. And let's do that 2 more times. Taking hips back. Just start to stretch into the shoulders, stretching into the upper arms. And then coming forward. And then last time, taking the hips back, right, stretching into the shoulders. And then come forward. And still down on forearms, flip the palms face up. Spread the fingers wide and try to keep the tops of the hands on the mat. Try to keep fingers down on the mat and maybe even try to get the thumbs to touch the mat. And then slowly start to sit back any amount. Maybe notice the sensation of stretch that starts to happen into the forearms, right? Try to keep the tops of the hands on the mat. Again, try to keep the thumbs on the mat. And then start to shift forward. And let's do that 2 more times. Take the hips back any amount. I'm just working on trying to keep hands and thumbs and fingers on the mat. Right, feeling that sensation of stretch all across the arms. And then coming forward. And one last time. Taking hips back any amount. Right, just focusing on that sensation of stretch through the arms. And then coming forward once again. You can flip the palms face down. Right, make your way back up into tabletop. And then return back to a seat. Let's set the right hand to the right side, or maybe coming up onto fingertips. Start to tip the left ear towards the left shoulder. Right, maybe taking that left arm and just resting it onto the head. Right, start to take that right shoulder away from the neck. Right, maybe pull the head away from the shoulder. And just feeling a sensation of stretch all across the right side of the neck. And then lifting the head back up. Or maybe walking the right hand back a little further. And start to tip that left ear towards the left shoulder once again. And then this time, maybe tipping the head forward slightly. And again, option to rest the arm or take the hand towards the back, right side of the head. Right, start to stretch across the right side of the neck. Right, maybe walking that right hand back a little further. And maybe just gently with that left hand, just pulling the head up and away from the shoulder. Right, just getting that stretch across the back right side of the neck. And then release that left hand, Lift the head back up to center, and we'll go to the other side. So set the left hand out to the side and start to drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Again, option if you like, you can rest the right arm or hand onto the head. Maybe send the shoulder away from the head, send the head away from the shoulder. Just find that lengthening across the left side of the neck. And then release the right hand, lift the head back up. Just start to walk the left hand back any amount. And then tip the right ear towards the right shoulder once again. And then just slowly tip the head forward slightly. Again, if you'd like, you can take that right hand to the outside or to the left side of the head. And again, just start to pull the head away. Start to extend or walk the hand back a little further. And just finding that stretch across the back left side of the neck. And then release the hand, lifting the head back up. And just come back to center. Just take a moment here to pause. And maybe just noticing how the shoulders are feeling. Maybe noticing how the neck or spine feels. And then we'll make our way into another shoulder stretch. Okay, so just come to lie onto your belly. Maybe if you have a pillow or blanket that you might like to use, right, just to support the upper body. And we'll just take a bit of a back bend to start. You can rest the arms onto your pillow if you'd like, and just rest the chin onto the hands. Right, so just taking a gentle, back bend. Or if you like, you can set up into Sphinx by taking forearms onto the mat, palms face down. Right, elbows can be slightly in front of shoulders. And whichever version you're in, right, maybe just lifting up through the crown of the head a little more. And just maybe sending the heart forward a little more. And then you can settle onto your prop, right, or just settling down onto the mat. Stay connected with the breath. And maybe noticing how you're breathing in this moment. Noticing where in the body you're breathing into. And can you breathe a little bit more into the belly? Right, really feeling the belly expand and push into the surface. Maybe breathe a little bit more into the side ribs. Right, and feel the sides expand as you breathe in. Right, feel them sink as you breathe out. Maybe breathing a little bit more into the back body. And just noticing how that feels. And if you are resting onto a pillow or blanket, then just setting your prop aside, right? Lifting up towards Sphinx. And just take a breath here. And then slowly lower all the way down. Right? Extending arms out into a T with the palms face down. And just turning onto the left side of your head. Right, maybe if you've got a small pillow or blanket that you'd like to use to support the head with, right, then just setting that up. And just holding here for a moment. Just feeling the weight of the body. And let's start to bend into the right elbow and take the right hand in towards you. Slowly start to roll onto your left side and just tuck the knees up in towards the chest. Send your awareness to the front of the left shoulder and just noticing the sensation of stretch that's happening. Maybe adjusting that stretch by walking the hand a little higher or a little lower than shoulder height. And then once you've found your stretch, you can stay here, or option if you like, you can extend the legs out towards straight, right? Maybe stagger or stack the legs. Maybe bend into that right knee and set the sole of the right foot behind the left leg. You can keep the left hand or right hand resting in front, or if you like, you can just tuck the arm behind the waist. Right, so just finding your shape. Right, stay connected with your breath, and we'll be here for about 2 minutes. Again, just focusing on how you're breathing in this moment. Focusing on the different sensations that are happening in the body. And just noticing what you're feeling. Notice what you sense. And just noticing what's happening in the body right now. You can always do a little bit of breath work and just counting the inhales and exhales and using the same count to even out the inhale and exhale. And then slowly making your way back onto your belly, and we'll set up for the other side. So once again, starting by just laying onto the right side of the head, arms out into a T with the palms face down. And just taking a moment here, feel the weight of the body sinking into the surface. And then bending into the left arm, taking the left hand in towards you. Start to roll onto your right side.
start by tucking knees in towards the chest, focusing on that stretch across the front of the right shoulder, taking your time to adjust the sensation of stretch by either walking the hand higher or lower than shoulder height. And then once you found the stretch that feels right for you, you can decide if you'd like to stay here with knees tucked in. Again, option to extend legs out towards straight. And you can stagger or stack the feet. You can bend into the left knee. Place the sole of the left foot behind the right leg. You can keep the left hand resting in front. Or again, if you'd like, just tuck the arm behind the waist. And then settling into your shape. And again, we'll be here for 2 minutes. Just invite the body to soften, right? Letting go of effort and just settle into stillness. And then slowly making your way out of this pose. And just gently find your way back up towards the seat. And we'll set up into a forward fold. Again, if you'd like, you can sit up onto a pillow or a blanket. If you have additional props that you might like to use to fold over and rest the body onto, you can just take those nearby, like maybe a pillow or a rolled up blanket. And then if you've got additional props that you might like to use underneath knees, and again, just having those nearby. And we'll extend the legs out in front, right? And just start by keeping legs together. And just decide if you'd like to bend or keep legs towards straight. Again, here, if you'd like, you can tuck something underneath the knees. And then if legs together does not serve you, then you can always take the legs wider and take your forward fold with legs wide. Again, if you'd like, you can tuck some props underneath the knees so the legs can be bent, or you can keep them straight. And then sitting up nice and tall, right? Maybe placing a blanket or pillow on the lap if you'd like. And then just start to hinge from the hips any amount. Lifting up through the crown of the head, keeping the back of the neck long, and then maybe hinging forward just a little more. And then just take a couple of breaths here. And then slowly start to round through the spine. And then start to lower the head. And just settle here into your forward fold. And just noticing the sensation of stretch across the back body. Maybe noticing sensations of stretch across the back of the legs. Noticing how you're breathing in this shape. And maybe breathe a little bit more into the belly, but allow the belly to expand. Allow the belly to soften. Maybe breathe a little bit more into the back body. Right? Maybe finding a little bit more of that sensation of stretch as you inhale and puff up into the back body. And we'll settle here into our forward fold for just one more minute. And then slowly, with the help of your hands, coming back up to a seat. If you have any props that you are using to support the legs, right, just set those aside. And let's start to bend the knees a little more and start to take the soles of the feet together and then let the knees fall out to the side. Right, sitting up nice and tall once again. And then just take a moment here to decide if you'd like the feet a little closer towards you or taking them further away. And then once you've settled into the butterfly shape, again, sitting up tall, start to hinge from the hips, folding forward any amount. Right, hands can rest onto the legs, right onto the feet, or you can set the hands onto the mat. Lift up through the crown of the head, right, lengthen the spine and keep the back of the neck long. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can start to round through the spine and lower the head. And then we'll be here for one more minute. Again, noticing how you're breathing here. What's the quality of your breath? Right, what sensations are you experiencing in the body right now? And slowly make your way back up to a seat. You can take the knees together, and then we'll come to lie onto our mat, and we'll set up for a reclined pigeon pose.
So if you have like a pillow or blanket you'd like to use to rest the head onto, right, you can set that up and then come to lie onto your back. And just start with the knees bent and soles of the feet on the mat. Taking arms to your sides with the palms face down. Maybe take feet about hip distance apart or a little wider. And then let's cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh and just flex the foot. Maybe send the knee forward a little more. And then you can stay here if that feels like a stretch that feels right for you today. Option if you like, you can reach through and grab a hold of the back of the left thigh. Just keep flexing through that right foot. Maybe rock a little from side to side. And just noticing maybe how the sensation of stretch migrates across the hip. And then once you found a stretch that you'd like to hold in, then pause there. Keep flexing through that right foot. Maybe hug that left knee in towards you a little more. And then start to extend out through the sit bones, like you're trying to get the sit bones to touch the floor. And let's just hold here for a few breaths. Right, notice if you're tensing up in shoulders. Right, relax the shoulders. Right, notice if you're flexing into the abs and relax the belly. Right, can you relax the hips in this shape? And then maybe hug that knee in a little closer. And then keep pushing out through the sit bones. And then release the hands. Step the sole of the left foot onto the mat. And then cross that right leg over top the left. So now legs are crossed. And then take arms out to your sides into a T or a cactus shape. And then slowly let the knees fall to the left, right? Any amount. So we're just taking a variation on a reclined twist. And if legs crossed just doesn't serve you, you can always uncross the legs and just stack the legs or stagger the legs and just come into a more classic reclined twist. And then slowly taking knees back up to center. Let's uncross the legs, taking arms back down by your side, and we'll set up for the other side. Okay, so just starting with feet about hip distance or a little wider. Let's cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Again, flex the foot. Right, notice if you'd like to stay here, right, if you're already feeling a stretch through the hip. And then if you'd like, you can start to reach through and grab a hold of the back of the right thigh. Again, maybe rock a little from side to side. Make sure you're still flexing that left foot. And notice if you can hug that right knee in a little closer. And as you rock from side to side, maybe pause where it feels like a stretch that you'd like to take at this moment. And then hold here. Again, relax the hips. Maybe extend out through the sit bones. Right? Try to get the sit bones to touch the mat. Again, notice if you can relax the shoulders, soften the belly, relax the hips, and then maybe find a deeper stretch. And then release the hands and step the right foot down onto the mat, taking arms out to your sides into a T or a cactus, and then cross the left leg on top of the right, and then start to let the knees drop to the right. Right, finding your reclined twist on the other side. Again, if legs crossed doesn't serve you, then uncross the legs and again stagger or stack the legs and just find your reclined twist. And then sweeping knees up through center and uncross the legs. Taking arms back down by your side. Start to focus your awareness to the hips. You can keep the knees bent, or you can extend the legs out towards straight. And we're just going to do a little bit of that clock movement in the hips. Okay, so just allow the body to relax. Let the body get heavy. And then picturing your pelvis like a clock. So your tailbone will be 12. Your sacrum will be 6. The left or the right sit bone will be 3, and the left sit bone will be 9. And gently start to rock the hips between 12 and 6. Right, so sort of like tucking the tailbone under and then shifting forward and lifting low back off the mat maybe. And just continue to rock between 12 and 6. Right, really subtle movement. It might not even look like you're moving at all. Notice if any parts of the body want to tense up as you cycle through this movement. Again, invite the body to soften. Right, let the muscles relax. Right, the only activity is that rocking back and forth of the hips. And then come back to center. And picturing the left hip and the right hip as 9 and 3. I just start to rock from side to side. Just a gentle rocking between 9 and 3 o'clock. Again, it might not look like you're moving at all. And come back to center. If knees were bent, start to extend the legs out towards straight. If there's any props that you might like to use to tuck underneath knees. If you have a blanket that you'd like to cover yourself with, just take a moment here to set that up. And we'll start to take a bit of a body scan. So allow the legs to get heavy, allow the arms to get heavy. Letting go of all effort. Allow the body to soften and settle into stillness. And then starting at the top of the head, bring your awareness to the crown of the head. Send your awareness to the back of the head, feeling the back of the head against the surface. Sending awareness to the ears, and then to the temples. Send awareness to the eyebrows and the space between the eyebrows. Send awareness to the eyes and the space beneath the eyeballs. Noticing cheeks and the nose, noticing the tip of the nose. Sending awareness to the lips, noticing the jaw. Can you relax and soften the jaw a little more? And sending awareness to your neck, to the space below the neck. Send awareness to the shoulders, noticing the arms and the weight of the arms in the shoulder sockets. Sending your awareness down to the hands, to the back of the hands, and then to the palms of the hands. Noticing the fingers and the space between the fingers. Sending awareness to your upper back, and then send the awareness to the chest. Send your awareness to the mid-back, and then to the ribs, and even noticing the movement in the ribs as you breathe. Sending awareness to your low back, and then noticing the belly, noticing the rise and fall of the belly as you breathe. Sending awareness to your pelvis, the sacrum against the surface. Send your awareness to the hips, to the hip bones. Can you soften and relax the hips a little more? Send your awareness to your thighs, the tops of the thighs, and the backs of the thighs. Send your awareness to the knees and the space behind the knees. Noticing your shins, and then the calves, and the weight of the calves against the surface. Send awareness to the ankles, to the backs of the ankles, the space under the ankles. Noticing the heels and the weight of the heels against the surface. Sending awareness to the soles of the feet and to the tops of the feet. Sending awareness to your toes and to the space between the toes. Right, allowing the whole body to relax. Letting go of all effort. Settling into stillness. Just allowing the body to rest. And I will leave you here so that you can continue to rest and relax. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your practice with me this evening. It is always such an honor and such a joy to share this practice. Sending gratitude for our practice and gratitude for our community. Wishing you all a beautiful night's rest. Peace.